the Brown Boys, the Brown Boys, the Brown Boys, we the Brown Boys, the Brown Boys, we the Brown Boys. All right, I found it. Let me share the screen.
Happened in Venezuela over the weekend. The most America First thing I have ever seen. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, 303 billion barrels. That's 17 plus trillion dollars at the current market value. Now, here's the part you're not being told. We don't need the oil. Have you noticed the gas prices? They keep coming down. China needs the oil. China buys 60 to 90% of all of Venezuela's crude exports, now not going to China. How is China going to be able to power all of their electricity needs? And what else has been destabilized this weekend? Iran. They buy 85 to 90% of all of the oil in Iran, and those are huge oil reserves as well. If Iran and Venezuela fall at the same time, China loses 70% of its non-U.S. regulated oil supply. You lose 70%. What else can't you do? Well, you can't go into Taiwan. You can't have AI dominance. There's no BRICS reserve currency. Absolutely, it's about oil, but not for us. That's why this matters. And that's only one piece of this. Drugs, the cartel of the Suns, one of the nastiest cartels, and it is run by the generals of the government of Venezuela. Is this about drugs? Yes. Terror. We've talked about the island off the coast of Venezuela that is in bed with China, Russia, and Iran. And Hezbollah actually comes and trains Venezuelans to be a part of this cartel. And they use all of the tactics of Islamic terror. Is it about terror? Yes. This is what America First looks like long term. Not isolation, not chaos, strategy, strength, and a true will to win. What happened in Venezuela over the weekend?
To me, it's a chess move. Who the hell want to take China straight on head up when they are a nuclear powerhouse, when they can turn off our power grid? You know, we want to try them without trying them. You know what I mean? We want to have poppable deniability, like Tears say. There you go, Stephen A. Smith. Let me put up a overlay. We ain't trying to have Stephen A. flag me. All right, here goes old boy Stephen A. Let me...
Opposed to a dictator that forced his way into power. My position is one of questions, and I get myself in trouble asking questions, but I'm never going to stop because my nature as a journalist is to ask questions. When I think about the United States and I think about our government in the nation's capital, I need somebody to make it make sense for me. Didn't Trump originally put a $15 million bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head in his first term in office? The answer to that would be yes. Didn't President Joe Biden in 2025, before leaving office, put a $25 million bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head? The answer to that would be yes. Didn't President Trump come back after putting the $15 million bounty on Maduro's head, after witnessing Joe Biden put a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head, up the ante by increasing that bounty to $50 million? The answer to that would be yes. So if we as a government crossing party lines, mingling with other administrations in terms of mirroring their agenda as it pertains to this specific individual, if that is what happened, what's the problem? What am I missing? Now, if the vice president...
Good question, Stephen A. What are we missing? Since everybody like to listen to this bald-headed weasel, I mean, what is he saying something wrong? Is he saying something wrong? Oh, now D. Anthony, he don't like Stephen A. I don't like Stephen A. either, but he's saying something right here. He said he liked to ask questions. I like to ask questions too. Why was you at them colleges, boy? And why was you at them high schools? But this not right now. Right now, you saying something that you're right about. Both sides do this stuff, and they always highlight one side. It's annoying.
President of Venezuela, who's now been sworn in as its leader, is opposed to this. I get it. Cuba, Russia, doing business with Venezuela, particularly as it pertains to its oil, because even though the United States,
Even Stephen A. can see it. Cuba, Russia, China, Iran, all those people are in bed together. Could be stopping something.
produces more oil, they don't have a larger reserve than Venezuela. We know they have it. My point to all of y'all is this. As a nation, this is where we have to hold our politicians accountable. Make it make sense. What is the problem with President Trump going in and getting Maduro when we already put a bounty on his head, crossing the first Trump administration, crossing the Biden administration, and now with the Trump administration, part two, being in power, each time they were on the same page, we got to get this man. They called him a narco-terrorist. They accused him of funneling drugs into our nation. Trump did it, Biden did it. Republicans agreed to it, Democrats agreed to it. What's the problem? I just need it to make sense for me. Because if it made sense for Trump to put the $15 million bounty, and the Republicans said nothing, and it made sense for Biden to put a $25 million bounty, and the Democrats said nothing, why is it a problem now that we got him? Why? Now, I'll be the first to admit, I get very, very suspicious about that nation building stuff. I personally.
We're not nation building, Stephen A. We doing a preemptive strike against China, I think. I think we are trying to, bring China to understand there's more than one way to skin a cat. We don't want to see no nuclear war, but we do want them to understand you're not gonna come down here and out close to our hemisphere acting like you just gonna run the show. Not gonna happen. We're gonna go after drug traffickers in Mexico, Cuba, and all these different places that we gonna see. Don't fear monger. That Trump has been right about most of the stuff he said. They just don't want to admit it because it's Trump.
I'm not interested in seeing American boots on the ground. I'm leery about that. I'm not comfortable when President Trump said, we're going to run the nation until we can make a smooth transition. What are you talking about? That nation building is not something we.
Salute to you, Miss Spitfire. I bet you D.L. Hughley would have an answer for that question. It's something weird, too.
And by the way, this goes as diametrically opposed to everything that he said prior. When he ran for office in the first term, when he ran for office in the second term, when he talked about America first, when he talked about prioritizing this country, he didn't talk about nation building. As a matter of fact, he lamented our role in Afghanistan. He lamented our role in Iraq. He lamented our role in certain places. No doubt about it. So why are we going to do that now? Remember what Dave Chappelle said during his stand-up many, many years ago? Not in the stand-up, I'm sorry, when he was doing the Chappelle show. That oil. I got it. They got about 300 million barrels. Who knows how many barrels we going to get a hold of? Who knows whether or not that's going to fuel oil companies. It's going to put money in a lot of people's pocket. Probably going to put money in Trump's pocket. We don't know this, but it's not inconceivable. The question is it going to put money in the American people's pockets? That's a different argument. You want to argue about what role we're going to play in nation building? I'm down for it. I heard Minority Speaker Hakeem Jeffries in the House lamenting. Wait a minute now. What the hell is that about? Did you consult with Congress? Did you talk with Congress? Excuse me, it's the United States government. It's not just the Trump administration. There's a House of Congress. There's a Senate. You got 435 representatives. You got 100 Senate figures. You got 535 elected officials in the United States government that you're supposed to be consulted with. I get that when it comes to the nation building. I just don't want to hear it when it came to him going to Venezuela, going to Caracas to grab Maduro. If you got a bounty on his head, and the Biden administration had a bounty on his head, and then another $50 million bounty on his head, 15 to 25 to 50, once you got his ass, that's not something to be complaining about. Because
I agree, Stephen A. That's nothing to be complaining about. No, you said Stephen A was never right about anything. He wasn't right about me. I agree with you on that. But he's right about this one. I know that upsets you.
everybody was in on it. Everybody was cool with it. If you're cool with the bounty, you got to be cool with the capture. And not an American soldier died, not one. Not an American citizen got harmed, not one. Not one, not one. Come on now. This is what I mean when I talk about us being fair. There's a lot of things I don't like about what the president's doing or how he might do it. I don't like the style at all. But in the end, when it's effective, and you got to give credit where it's due. That's how you legitimately grill him when you.
Basically, he doesn't like Trump style. He likes the results. Don't like the way Trump talk, likes the results. Most of these Democrats, they talk nice, they talk right, but the results are terrible. They act like they're America first. They tell you they're going to give you $20 an hour for minimum wage, and then all the companies leave their states. So it's not helping. The results are in. The policies that we are governed by is not helping.
Diametrically oppose what he's doing because it makes sense, because you're not engaging in partisanship. You're consistent. We don't have to get into it now, but I'm going to bring up tomorrow how Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is trying to demote the rank of Senator Mark Kelly. I won't get into that today, but I'm going to tell you this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I didn't agree with what Mark Kelly did. How dare you tell soldiers to disobey orders, labeling them illegal and all this stuff. You're making an assumption that they're going to be given illegal orders. That's a very irresponsible thing for Mark Kelly to do. And I said it here. I said it on The View in front of Sonny Houston. And I'll say it again. Houston, I'm sorry. I'll say it again. You don't do that. Not because you're an elected official, but because you're somebody that served in the Navy. You know better. That don't mean we got to be petty and demote the man's rank. A man that served with honor in our United States military and take money out of his pocket that was earned and bled for. He shouldn't have said that. It was not right. He shouldn't have opened his mouth. He shouldn't have been part of a video with other Democrats saying that. Fine, because he served and he knows better.
Now, why can't most of the other Democrats say what Stephen A. Smith is saying? Okay, we understand you don't got to agree with Trump, but you served in the military. Why would a military individual tell people to undermine authority and undermine orders? That's not what you're supposed to do. That's not what you're supposed to do. So, you got to appreciate, even though you don't like Stephen A. or whatever else, you got to appreciate when somebody come out and just say the truth. Like, okay, you don't have to like somebody, but this right here is a true statement.
Military Code of Justice. You can't do that. But you don't have to go that far. Because in the end, Pete Hegseth, as you did in serving in our military, so did Senator Kelly. He's one of your own. For all intent and purposes, whether you like it or not, he's supposed to be your brother. You don't have to do that. You can have a little more compassion than that. And Senator Mark Kelly is right to fight him on that, but I'll discuss that another day. Getting back to Maduro, again, nation building in another country, especially with Trump, I'm suspect on that. What I'm not suspect on is him getting them. Hell with that. That's the right thing to do, because across party lines, everybody in our government said this man was a narco-terrorist and we want to get him. What's the problem? You got him. Why are we complaining? People in Venezuela ain't complaining. Venezuelans throughout this nation ain't complaining. A lot of people in Latin America ain't complaining about the fact that you got him. You got people, I know somebody from Venezuela, and now they fantasizing about going back because he's finally been captured. And they want democratic leadership within their country. Because they went from being one of the most prosperous countries in the nation a few decades ago to people eating out of trash cans. And we complaining because it's legit, or we eating out of trash, from being one of the most prosperous countries in the nation a few decades ago to people eating out of trash cans. Prosperous countries in the nation a few decades ago to people eating out of trash cans. Most prosperous countries in the nation a few decades ago to people eating out of trash cans.
So for those of you saying, oh, what about people just walking into their home and telling them what to do and they rich and they do? No. Have you ever eaten out of a trash can? Have you ever made a rodent your main course of the night? That's your dinner's main course? A stray cat or anything you can get your hands on to eat? That's how they're allegedly living in Venezuela. So with all the resources and all the things that they have, it sounds good. But the citizens are rejoicing because they want to be able to live in a democracy where they have rights, they have money, they can live prosperous. And it's not like Trump in America is saying, oh, we're going to take all your resources and then you guys are not going to get nothing. They already got nothing. They're trying to actually change what they got going on. It makes sense. Let's fix Venezuela so we don't have housing complexes in America getting taken over by Venezuelan gangs. You know, let's send them people back to Venezuela, get them people back in prison, wherever else they came from. I'll bet any amount of money that me Smith voted for Trump too. He played with blacks votes mind. Make that money for your boss. Mr. Smith, he ain't voted for Trump. I don't believe it. I believe he just played both sides of the coin.